Alright, it's time to talk to myself for a little bit again. This one should be a lot of fun because for some reason I've decided to sit in the public Discord channel and stream this so that everyone else can come and point fingers. This one's also a little bit longer because I'm not feeling quite as lazy today. But yeah, let's just get on with it. Let's have a look at the matchups. Mid, we've got a nice classic matchup. We got Invoker into SF. I know nothing about that, but that sounds like an Exhort Invoker to me. I know even less about Exhort Invoker, but it was always the classic that Quaswex was the early rotation invoker that really played the real 2 role, and Exhort Invoker was kind of more of a pseudo 1 who would come and carry the game, but as it is now, I'm not really up to date on the meta. It looks like, however, we might have something interesting. From the looks of it, we have a support puck, a position 5 support puck. But which certainly I'm interested to see how that turns out. But back to the mid matchup briefly, I think it can go either way. Both have kill threat, though it might be slightly Invoker favoured with the Exhort start because you'll have some pretty good base damage compared to the SFs, who is going to most likely have skilled Raise. Yep, he needs to have Raise in order to secure that first wave. So I'm interested to see how that goes if Auto Director decides to show me it. Now in the side lanes, bottom lane we have Drow Kotl. Kotl has felt pretty underwhelming to me, but Drow, always quite a solid carry. Going to be pretty hard for Tusk and Venge to get a huge amount done against that. There's a lot of slow coming out from the Drow's Frost Arrows, as well as Blinding Light, though he hasn't started Blinding Light, which is a little bit interesting. It does look like it will be a 2-2 split of Bounty Runes, both off lanes claiming the River Rune. But yes, I think it'll be a little bit difficult for the Tusk to set up. Even if he gets on top of the Drow, she might skill an early Gust, but there's also Blinding Light to create some distance, and then once the distance has been created, it's not really going to shrink again because of all the slows. So it could be interesting. If they do get on top of either of those heroes down bottom, they will kill them, though. That's the difference. That's the important. Meanwhile, up top, we have a Centaur Mirana. I love that. Love that sort of lane. It's a nice tanky stunny boy, and it's set up for arrow, which you do really quite like as a Mirana. Yeah, you're sure, you know, if you're a really good Mirana, or you're feeling it that day, you can hit some wild prediction arrows, but it's not really reliable in the same way. And nice little dodge by the puck there. But that does have quite a lot of base damage on the Mirana at the same time, which is always nice. I mean, mid, we see the Shadow Fiend actually getting a lot of use out of that Razors, managing to both pick up 5 CS, so almost certainly got the first wave in full, as well. Oh wait, hold on. That's 3 denies on the Invoker. Maybe I'm completely wrong here, but you know, he's managed to apply. He's managed to secure himself level 2 while still pressuring the Invoker relatively well, which is really all you can ask for. Now that he's hit level 2, he can actually start playing this matchup a little bit better, and it'll be interesting to see how it's gone. Trading from the supports definitely goes the way of the Mirana, since the arrow was not dodged by the puck. I think, he does not have his actual glimpse yet. Ooh, almost picks up the kill, but the Fairy Fry is there. Will lose his courier, though. And I believe the other courier is hidden in the trees. Nice little play from the Tusk, just preventing any kind of pull shenanigans. This is down bottom. The Radiant have the sort of lane where if they can keep it under tower, or just in front of tower, really, it's going to be completely impossible to pressure that Drow. If she's under tower, you got to drag her out. Which isn't easy. It isn't easy, but as we can see, she's out, got the stun, and oh, look at that. The health is already gone. She's dead thanks to a nice little shot. Ooh, no, I thought she might just have barely slipped away there. But she did not manage to slip away. Now, I do actually want to quickly check if my overlay is turning up in the recording, and it's not, so that's good. That's good. I won't dox anyone who just happens to join this channel, which is really quite nice. Now, if we look at the last hits, it seems to be going reasonably even. Except the Invoker's a bit of an odd case. He's got more denies than he does last hits. 7 denies for 7 last hits. Well, evened out now. Which is odd. I think it puts him ahead on XP, but behind in net worth. And I think that's winning in midterms, but it probably depends a little bit on matchup. No, it's definitely winning, because I think an ability point is worth a lot more than gold at the early parts of the mid lane, especially for heroes that are so spell focused like these two. But we'll see how that mid lane continues to develop. Both carries off to a reasonably solid start. I think Slark's going to have a nicer time. He's up against the Centaur. I think that's a reasonably... I think that can go either way, but it feels Slark favoured. Just due to the nature of Centaur being a nice beefy boy who it's very easy to pick up attribute shift stacks against. Just keep them running throughout the whole lane. The Mirana, however, is very solid. You got to be careful, right? If you're the Slark, if you want to stack up, it's very easy to just get stomped and chained into arrow. Even if the Dark Pact is purging, you're going to have to be pretty quick and pretty careful. I think the arrow can be set such that it'll hit after the Pact pops to purge off the stomp, if that makes any sense. And we may actually see that come into play right now. Arrow doesn't quite connect. And Invoker has picked up a DD rune in mid. But he does have a couple of stacks of rages. But here's a rotation from both supports. Nice little Sunstrike. Doesn't connect, but Tusk is there to finish the job for him. Nice clean rotation to the mid lane. Both supports coming at the 4-minute mark. Exactly what you want to see. Well, slightly after the 4-minute mark, Invoker secured the rune himself. But, it's nice coordinated rotation against a hero with no innate escape ability. Very nice. Puck just playing around with Mirana, trying to secure a bounty rune if possible. Might have fucked this one up. Yeah, he has. He has. He went, I think, half second, maybe 2 seconds too early on that orb to actually have a chance of picking up the bounty rune and still orbing out. But he did get away with his life. So there, pros and cons. Looks like another 2-2 split on the bounty runes. Tusk doing a nice job for the Adaya and picking those up. So no major net worth change off the back of those just yet. Both carries don't come online for a little bit. I think Slark comes online. I think they come online actually at quite similar times. Just Slark is more impactful, really. Coming online for Slark means a lot more than it does for Drow. Drow just continues to scale and scale and scale. But that first item for Slark definitely massively ups his kill threat. I don't know what he's going for at the moment. He might have it stated. Looks like Drow is dead as a donut. Dead as a donut? That doesn't really make a lot of sense. Actually, might have managed to get away, just barely. The snowball is on the support rather than the Drow. I was convinced it was going on the Drow. They might be able to turn it around with a nice rotation from the Venge down to... Not the Venge, the Mirana down towards the bottom. It's the Venge who is in dire danger of getting picked off. But no, it looks like they'll be getting away. And that's a dive from the Tusk. And it's for naught. It's for naught. He feeds Drow a kill. Very close, but don't know if he expected her to have a point in Gust, as I said. At the start of this game, once that space, once Snowball's used and the space gets created again, he gets pushed away, it's going to be really hard to close it a second time. And that's exactly what we saw there. Drow's just able to hit him with a Frost Arrow and kite out. Which is precisely what you'd think, but it looks like a nice clean Sunstrike maybe was enough to just finish off that Drow. And unsurprisingly, nice combo onto that Shadow Fiend. He has the bottled Invis rune to get him out of that one. But it's just barely getting away from that one. And as we can see now, though, I would have said, Shadow Fiend starting to pull ahead. He certainly is ahead on the last hits, because he's such a fast farmer. As you just see, he just blows the wave up, can immediately go jungle. Invoker takes a little bit longer, doesn't have such easy spells to just spam. So even though he definitely came out of the lane worse, no question he'll be able to catch up and have some impact. But it's all about what can the Radiant get out of the map before that mid laner actually comes online and becomes a threat. How deep can it, how far can they entrench themselves before this starts to really be a problem? Because once the SF is online and the Centaur is more ready to fight, they have a pretty solid 4 protect 1 going. Drow can quite happily turn up to fights. It's not a... as long as Drow's careful, not going to get caught out of position and killed. Whereas the Invoker is going for a Midas, which is going to really slow down his progression, his ability to move around the map and impact on it. I think we're going to have to hope that Slarko will check what he's going for now. Is also going Midas. They both seem to be going Midas, which I think is actually quite worrying. The Invoker is going Midas. That's problematic. If both are going Midas, that's going to slow down their timings relatively significantly. And if both are going to be slowed down, that opens up a nice window for this Shadow Fiend to pick up a more tempo item, even though, you know, he gets a kill on the puck, that'll speed him up. And if he can get up a tempo item and start applying a lot of pressure alongside the Centaur, even if Centaur did just die, you know, there's also the Mirana to follow up. Drow is a farming machine, really, not as much as in patches past, but still very good. And if they can get a bit of a snowball going, while two of the cores for the Dire are being really greedy, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard, and I can see a snowball starting to happen. But this puck getting caught out a lot more than it probably should have. It's quite a hard game to play there with the Gust being in the game. Ooh, Midas has come out at exactly the same time for those two heroes. 9 minutes 30. Not a bad timing by any stretch. Not a bad timing by any stretch. Now, it looks to me, let's go on to net worth. Venge is absolutely the offlaner here. I think it's a little bit interesting to be going Agnums. A little bit. I've not heard. I think this item's a bit of a debate. And there goes single raise, and there goes Venge. I think it's kind of pointless to just have this the ability to permanently be alive if you don't do anything while alive. You know, I think it's more justifiable on the offlane position, because you are sort of there to run in and die. And what's better if when you run in and die you can still impact the fight? Pretty good, but I think Dire is going to have a bit of a tank problem. I think they're going to have a bit of a problem soaking up damage unless they cast their spells really, really well and find all the right fights. I think one of the problems here is that Slark as a carry is the sort of carry. He's now going to go Diffusal, so we'll see how fast he can get that out. If it comes out at a reasonable time, then and they can actually just entrench themselves, recover, and not get put on the back foot by the Radiant, and sort of get that first item bar Midas out, this is going to be really hard for the Dire. No, for the Radiant. There we go. I'm getting confused. But the Radiant, look, as we can see, the Radiant's starting to play together. I imagine the Shadow Fiend the Shadow Fiend's got his travels and his boots. It's enough to be getting on with. Centaur has a Blade Mail. They can absolutely be starting to make plays and apply pressure to the map, and that's what we see. They're immediately taking that tier 1. Venge is pressuring the tier 1 bottom to sort of balance it out, but in fact they might even get it with the catapult. So it does balance out, but it's an omen of things to come. I think that the Radiant is already playing together as 4, and it's quite important that they do this. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I do think that the Venge is making a pretty game-losing mistake at the moment, though. I think Ags is very much the wrong item to go. Shadow Fiend just having a bit of a scream to himself there. We will see how. I'm wondering what this puck support is sort of planning on. It's a veil. It's a veil. It's an interesting one. No, but as I was saying earlier, now I remember what it actually is. That's a lot of damage onto the Centaur. That's a lot of damage onto the Centaur. Oh my. I think it's going to be quite hard for the Dire to stand and fight properly, because Slark as a carry is the sort of thing that it's an irritatingly slippery fish, right? It wants to slide into the fight, whack some people around, do a load of damage, get away from the fight, regen up. And that's a lot of damage onto that Vengeful Spirit down bottom. Might be okay. But Slug likes to duck in and out the fight, doesn't want to stand there and just straight up duel it out. Invoker doesn't want to get caught, Puck doesn't want to get caught. Venge is really your Venge and Tusk are your front lines here, but Tusk is kind of the guy who jumps the back line and messes with people, doesn't really stand there and take damage as well as you might like him to. And Venge is not a tank unless you itemize for it quite heavily, and that is not what this Venge is doing. At least as I believe the Venge is not doing that. No, has changed their mind, isn't going for the Ags anymore. It's now going for a Vlad's much better item. Want to see some tank come out on this Venge. It's really important they have at least one hero who can actually stand and fight to allow the backline and the Slark to engage and disengage as they like. At least for part of the fight. I mean, if you only have one tank and it's having to heavily itemize towards that position, it's going to be really difficult to take a straight fight. Anyway, it's going to rely a lot on initiation and so on, but this is a good team. I mean, Venge swap is solid initiation, but you also have Slark, and in Invoker for catch, you have Tusk, who can just snowball from trees and all kinds of madness. So it is absolutely possible for the Dire team to take a nice fight. As we can see, you know, they caught out the Coddle, he's just dead, and now they have a pretty good window to push a little bit further, but I imagine they don't want to. I don't know how the items are looking quite now. Slark still not got the Diffusal Blade. Invoker not quite caught up, but we can start to see the Midas paying off. He's got, though Shadowfiend has his Yules now. That could start to come into play. Invoker probably going to be on par with Shadowfiend for a while. Shadowfiend just farms so quickly compared to Invoker that the Midas is more of a... it's almost helping him keep up. But we can see where the Midas has made a big difference, and that is the Slark compared to the Drow. Both had reasonably solid lanes. Drow, I think, had a bit of a harder time, was picked off a couple of times by some quite dedicated work. Ooh, Venge caught out. Absolutely just gone in an instant. They haven't even taken the rune yet. That's such BM. It's under a ward. And there it goes. I think they have both quite decent lanes, but Slark has been able to just absolutely take over. I think he's been involved in a couple of fights as well. Yeah, he's 3 kills. 3 kills up. And there's a 2k difference between the carries. And everyone else is roughly even. I mean, I don't really take into account supports in the same way. Oh, I am wondering when that Centaur Blink is going to be coming out. It's not out yet, so he is just going to have to Stampede in order to catch the Tusk here, who does get the Snowball save. Mirana dragging him back underneath the tower will mean the Tusk dies, though he jukes out the Gust, manages to turn around and pop tag team, but it's not enough. Puck jumps in with a Dream Coil to try and buy some time for the disengage, and it manages to work. Both supports go down, all 3 cores are alive. And that's a DD in the river. Could turn the fight around with that if he can go for it. But Slark's already quite low. He's seen the DD. He's going to run for it. Drums a pop to try and give him what he needs. And they looks like he's going to be diving in onto the backline with the DD. Uses up the pact a bit too early. And now he has his ult. Forced to Gust. And that's put the entire Radiant into retreat. They do not want to deal with a happy slappy fishy boy. And might actually manage to pick up the Drow before she gets the TP out. Looked like it was maybe a slightly longer TP than usual, but that was a lot of damage coming out of the Slark onto a relatively squishy hero. And of all the targets to have found, that's probably the one you want the most. Maybe you could make a case for the Shadow Fiend. I couldn't say, but top 2 at the very least. No question about that. And that's the Diffusal Blade right there, allowing him to catch up. But a very lucky DD rune does allow that fight to actually not look too bad for the Dire. And now I have to try and get my voice under control. Try and talk a little bit more properly. I need to what's the word? Sit up straight. Sit up straight, talk from the diaphragm and all that. Venge is just this entire time is one of lads, and it's just, oh yeah, I'm just gonna split push. I mean, yeah, she turned up to fights. I'm not flaming that at all, but I just find it funny that the person running all the aura items is the one on the opposite side of the map, applying all the pressure at the same time. I would have expected it was something like it'd be Invoker or Puck doing that. But Invoker's actually just standing proud in the mid lane. They're pushing in 2 towers at once, and both offlaners trying to deal with this bottom lane. I think it's better. It's certainly better for Venge in this situation. Zentral doesn't really want to be here. It's so far away from the rest of his team. But speaking of the rest of his team, they are in top lane right now, trying to apply a sort of opposite bit of pressure. And they seem to be succeeding. No one on the Dire is actually rotating at all to deal with them, but they're forced to TP back because they've realised on the Radiant that there's something is amiss. No one's coming, and we've seen these people just hanging around with complete confidence in this area. So we don't know what's up, but we know they're all here. Speaking of knowing they're all here, the Tusk knew a little bit more than he should have. Ooh, a nice little Sunstrike. I think Mirana was trying to juke it out, but actually juked straight back into it. Centaur having the blink, manages to catch 3 in the Hoof Stomp, but it's not enough. Invoker mispositioning on the front lines, is brought down pretty early, but that's a very low Centaur. Brought down, Tusk on just his last legs, might manage to get a last bit of damage off. Can't. Taken out by the old man on a horse, but the fish is running rampant, might actually catch the carry, doesn't have the diffusal blade available. It's taking a lot of damage, pops the ult to actually chase in to the base, but thinks better of it and starts to back away, letting himself regen back up. Not a brilliant fight for either side there, but a successful defense for the Radiant. But every kill that the Slark manages to pick up, especially a high value one like onto the Shadow Fiend, is important. I think it went slightly better for the Dire in light of that. Certainly, another reason it's better is just because it's on the Radiant side of the map. Any fight on the opponent's side of the map is better for you, just innately. Sort of gets a +1 to value, because any mistakes you make are... well, their mistakes are amplified and yours are muted. I can't think of the opposite for amplified at the moment. Very poor, I know. But yeah, it's always funny for me watching... ooh, Slark going for a quick kill. I don't believe the SF has any real defensive measures apart from the self-heals, which is... actually wasn't deployed. It was an Invoker Tornado, but it doesn't matter. Self-heals will not dodge out the Deafening Blast. Puck is caught on the bottom, but he is only a position 5. Might actually manage to get away, but no. Doesn't quite get the jaunt. But it doesn't matter. You'll happily trade a Puck for 2 cores and a position 4. Old man will be collecting a little bit of money. He'll be finding his pension. Yeah, the old man will get his pension while the Dire sets up for Roche, actually. I kind of expected them to maybe push for a tower, but no, this is absolutely the correct decision. It's very much better. Gives the Slark, who I assume will be picking up, freedom to really go ham in a lot of fights. It's annoying enough having to kill him once, but now he can just go as deep as he wants and has a get out of jail free card. And let's see if this old man can get out of jail. Doesn't look like he can, but he's quite quick, actually. I'm surprised with how quick he is. I think that is the new ability at work here, but Dream Coil is committed. Ooh, and he even has some invis. It'd be incredible for him to actually get away with this one. And it looks like he actually manages to juke out pretty angry. Ooh. Manages to juke out some angry people, but Venge will not be quite as lucky. Is caught. Arrow didn't connect, but it didn't have to. There was a lot of chain CC. Genuinely incredible. Genuinely incredible that the Coddle actually jukes that fight. Kind of annoying that the Puck isn't carrying dust, considering there's a Mirana on the other team. I imagine the Slark was not particularly happy about that one. Yeah, Puck should have been carrying dust, absolutely, but dust will not save them from this smoke. So we will be seeing some smoke action, which is what we like to see. I'm not really saying anything of value at the moment. Invoker, it may look horribly out of position, but you've got to remember he has boots of travel. And once again, we've seen this scene before, but now he has a BKB. It's dodged out. The ult's dodged by everybody except Tusk. And we'll see what happens. Stomp is dodged out, but it doesn't matter. That is a lot of damage coming out of that Exhort Invoker, and Director does not want me to see the fight, but I can promise you that the Drow is dying over on the side. No TP cancel yet through BKB. We'll probably see a Basher come out on the Slark at some point soon. Not queued up yet. He wants that BKB. This is Will-O-Wisp now. It doesn't look anywhere near as good. Feels pretty bad, and that's an aggressive position 5. He's just messing with them, chasing them down. Oh, and another well-timed DD. I believe the Slark still has an Aegis. He does. Maybe could have even committed harder into that fight in his jungle. But there's no sense in wasting it now. A couple of seconds before the Radiant heroes come up, they might have a window to actually pull something off here if they're clever with it. But it looks like they'll just be going for the tier 2. Definitely, I mean, it's nice, very nice. We're seeing a bit of net worth now, a bit of net worth lead further the Dire now. Absolutely something that can be turned around. Drow is rather far behind. But that's fine, that hero's not too crazy. Sunstrike again finds, kills off a Mirana. They are committing quite a lot to the Slark here, but you have to remember he has an Aegis. Still not going to die by the looks of it. Oh, Stampede committed now. That's a lot of ults gone down. It looks like Slark wants to get some of his HP back before he has to turn and fight once again. Only the position 4s have died so far. Caught out by stuns left and right. Saberlight goes down. Now the Slark is trying to find a bit of space in the fight. Wants to get away from the Drow in order to get that regen so he can then get back in and close the distance. No cancel from the Invoker. Wasn't close enough to get the cold snap off. It looks like they might just disengage here, but no, the blink forward. He now has a blink, has the BKB ready if he wants to make use of it, but no. He'll leave it there for the moment and probably wait for his team to regroup. Still not used up the Aegis, which is quite important, but another nice little fight. They may have actually gotten a buyback there. I wasn't fully conscious of it. No, they didn't. But that did look like a pretty solid fight for the Dyad. They've increased their net worth lead, which generally means it's gone alright. And Slark stacking up on those permanent essence stacks, which is even better. Puck, the most aggressive position 5 I've ever seen, has caught another person. This time the Sunstrike, though, doesn't actually have enough damage to finish it. Puck decides to dive quite deep for that one. Will get it, but feeds the Drow kill at the same time. Will-O-Wisp is committed. That thing seems to have a very short cooldown, which doesn't really matter because it's absolutely terrible. Yep, that blink on the Invoker is being put to a quite aggressive use as the combo comes down. The meatball hits, the Gust does not, and the Centaur will be turned into steamed ham. What am I saying? It's fun though. It's fun. I might do this in public more often. Well, I say public, no one's actually watching or listening, but there's potential. There's potential, so I got to give it my all more often. I can't just phase out of existence, at least until I stop caring, and then maybe I will. This has become significantly easier since I've become so lazy as to let AutoDirector do all of the observing for me, because frankly I am not good enough to do observing or commentary, so let's just focus on one. And I don't think it'd be very interesting for anyone to watch me just talk to literally just watch a game in silence for a while. Old man caught out, swapped up and missiled. Nice setup for the ultimate, catches the Slark and blows up the Tusk at the same time. They will find the Venge on the side. Will they push for anything more here? Venge looks to have... Does she have the Agnum Scepter now? Yep. Which I still think is a mistake. Still think that's a pretty big mistake, as we saw there. Just got killed. It's very much not so important. I feel like you could have a lot more and another double damage for this Slark. They're gonna be looking for something. They're absolutely gonna be looking for something. There's no way this dude gets a DD and doesn't look for a kill. But we'll see. We'll see if they actually act on anything. Centaur might be showing. It's their ward. It's their ward, so I think he's just farming under it for a sort of strange sort of safety. Sort of. I need to improve my vocabulary. It doesn't actually kill the creep that the Invoker's TPing to, so now the mid laners will be chasing each other around on the top, which might create space for DD Slark to find another kill, and he does. Another Essence Shift stack. It is stolen by the Puck, but who cares? Puck also finds a bit of a courier. They had the shield, I think. Didn't use it. Maybe it was on cooldown, but I'm surprised they used the boost. And oh no, didn't have it. They don't actually have it yet, it seems. Let's have a look at Mirana. I can't, it's dead. But I assume she doesn't have it yet, actually. I thought you got it earlier than that. Or at least that I thought they'd be higher level, considering how high leveled some of the cores are in this game. But I suppose that's Dota for you.
Is Dyer going to let that middle tower fall?
And that's quite a desperate play from the Centaur. He has been found. Ooh, that was a nice cold snap to stop the stomp, but it does get out regardless. No Dream Coil to slow him down, but it looks like he's been caught regardless of the Stampede. Found by the Tornado EMP combo. Now there's definitely no TPing away. Dust just to deal with the Mirana ult.
Thanks for your impertinence.
There we go. Now you're carrying Dust. You get juked out by a Coddle once, and now you're fine. DD has worn off, but this, yeah, and the Aegis has expired, or he died. I think it expired. This Slark has not really been at risk of dying very much this game. And they have a courier positioned in the pit. I assume that's Dyer's. Ooh, the old man actually finds a tower. Incredible. But yeah, they'll just be waiting for Roche to come up again. And yeah, after Roche comes up, they'll take it. That'll probably be the last chance for the Radiant to contest for the game. Now the 1 and 2 of the Dire are really pulling ahead, as we can see as Invoker just brutally slaps down the Coddle, misses the meatball completely. It just doesn't matter. Alacrity too strong. But now we just play a little bit of a waiting game. The lead is expanded to 11k. It's starting it's starting to look quite over. 608 Slark, 12 permanent agility. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe. If they can land everything perfectly, they get a big hoof stomp into the old Will-O-Wisp into an SF ult that wrecks everyone and so on. But if SF gets caught out like this, he can't destroy anyone. He's just killed immediately, and Auto Director wants me to watch the wrong side of the map. Please take me over there. There we go. It actually brought me over there now. And Slark is just diving deep. Doesn't care that he has the Aegis or not. He smells Drow and wants her dead. BKB is popped and by the Shadow Fiend with the buyback on both cores. That will be enough to push him away. But that's two very key buybacks forced out. If they go down again, and if as mispositioned as that SF was there, the game might just be straight up over. And Roche has respawned, and they're certainly not going to be too willing to contest it right now. Though they might have to. I think, yep, there's the smoke. They know where the Dire are going to be, but the Dire probably know that this is coming. We see the Slark is positioning himself quite forward. Smoke will have broken, so they know. But the Invoker goes down immediately. Swap is trying to disjoint the Centaur, but it doesn't matter. They find a Coddle on the backline, but it doesn't matter. You've lost an Invoker, and he doesn't have buyback. Slark is trying to TP closer, but the slow TP, thanks to the Invoker just going there in order to die. But he is in time to find Saberlight. On the background, Mirana falls next. Buyback on the Coddle. Now it's just time to hunt those without buyback. Nobody has it anymore. Mirana doesn't. Centaur has it if he wants it, and he really should. Because if this Drow goes down, as she is about to do, there she goes. Why Auto Director is not showing me probably the most important kill of the game, I couldn't possibly tell you. But it isn't. But believe me, that was exciting. That was exciting. But trust me. This is madness. This is madness. And this is terrible. It was so good, and now it's just not good enough. It's just showing me areas of the map with nobody in. I think it's to do with where people die, but I'm not sure. And ooh, okay, fair enough. Oh my god, really? Okay, well we all knew what was going to happen there anyway, didn't we? Let's just claim that censorship. Trying to keep this PG-13. We don't want to see the elderly get beaten up. Yeah, Order X is just looking out for me. Ooh, nice hoof stomp, but it probably isn't enough. That's actually quite a lot of damage. The BKB's been forced, and he's chasing into the base. They might actually be able to bring him down. Centaur's fallen. Please show me the actual fight, not the Invoker's TP. And nope. False alarm. Everyone's dead. Everyone's dead again. That's it. That's game. Centaur's gone. Centaur's gone. Oof. And yeah, that was just well played. Just well played all around.